board.
I don't.
Welcome everyone to Tuesday night select board meeting, the meeting after our town meeting. This is the reorganizational meeting of the select board, which is why I'm opening this up for us. It is Tuesday, March 12th, 2024. At this time, we currently don't have any chair because we're reorganization, we're doing.
I make a motion for Mary Ashcroft as chair.
All right, I hear
Second.
one and I hear a second from Mary. Is there any other nominations? Okay,
Once more, three
Uh,
times.
Three times.
3 times. You have to ask for nominations 3 times. Just in case somebody wants to get picky.
is there any other nominations? Hearing none, is
One
there
more
any
time.
other nominations? I hear none. All right, can I can close the nominations, yes. All in favor of closing the nominations, say aye.
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 Any opposed? None opposed. All in favor of Mary being chair, say aye.
Aye.
None opposed. I'd like to turn it over to our chair for the year, Mary Ashcroft.
Thank you, Carrie. We also at our reorganizational meeting elect a clerk. Is there any nomination?
Joey DiNardo.
Motion's been made for Joe DiNardo. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's made and seconded.
Does anybody else want it?
That's not appropriate discussion.
I ask this question every year.
I know you do.
Yeah.
Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? If none, all in favor of Joe DiNardo for clerk, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you.
Okay, so please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, everyone.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And please remain standing. It is my sad duty to recognize 2 Rutland Town residents who died this past week. Larry Williams was a charter member of our town's fire department. And Fred Nicholson was a longtime ballot clerk, tree warden, member of the Board of Civil Authority as a justice of the peace, and ballot clerk. And I had the privilege of sitting with him for 8.5 hours last Tuesday. Both longtime, very dedicated servants. We will miss them both and we thank them for their service. Thank you. Okay. Well done. You may want to, like run for moderator or something. I don't know. Okay, so we've done the elections for reorganization. We have the select board minutes for February 27th and March 4th. They're in your packet. Is there any motion? Matt
Second.
moves to approve both. Sharon seconds both. Any additions, deletions, corrections?
I won't be able to vote on the second.
Right, Joe can't
I
vote
have
on
to
the
vote them
second.
separately.
So we'll do the February 27th one. All in favor of those minutes, please say aye. Aye. None opposed, motion carries. And the March, guess we got to sign them. The March 4th meeting, that was the brief one for the 3rd class liquor license just before the town meeting, the evening town meeting. Motion's been made and seconded. Any additions, deletions, corrections? If not, all in favor of approving those minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
4 ayes, I'll vote aye, and 1 abstention, Joe, because he wasn't here. All right, I'm going to circulate those. Here we go. any select board announcements, member announcements? No? Okay. Yeah, I do have a few updates from the select board chair, so let me go through them quickly. They're not long. First of all, a thank you from all of us on the select board to the voters who voted in all of our budgets, and to the department heads who worked so hard getting those budgets in shape. So very strong vote in favor of all of our budgets on the town side. So thank you all. We do need to ratify yet one more document related to our bond. Okay, in your packet, you have resolution and certificate. You will recall that we signed it in anticipation of tonight's meeting, and I will entertain a motion from someone to ratify that action.
So move.
Where is this?
Okay, it's called Resolution and Certificate. It's 5 pages long. And I think I have the original here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Okay. It was included in, and everyone but Kurt signed it. Kurt, you're here tonight. I think you can sign it, okay?
Hand it over, I'll scribble.
Okay. So I'm looking for, we've got a motion from Joe, seconded by Matt or Sharon?
Doesn't matter. Okay. me.
Okay, Sharon, to ratify the action of accepting,
Wait on the firm.
passing the resolution and certificate related to our bond. Any discussion?
So this was,
From,
I thought we did this, so.
from what I can tell, it was in the packet that was emailed to us from bond counsel way back when. And then when they mailed the packet to us, and that was the one we actually signed, but this resolution wasn't in the packet, so we didn't sign it at
So
that
is
time.
this the one that I just signed the other day?
Yes,
Separate?
yes,
So we're just ratifying what we've already signed.
that's correct.
Okay.
Any further questions if not, all in favor of ratifying our signatures and adoption of the resolution and certificate, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously. As an aside, I did have an email from bond counsel, well, Matt Bloomer, who's working with bond counsel. He confirmed, he did ask, and he confirmed that the interest rate on the bond is 3.013%. So we got a really good rate. The coupon referenced only relates to, there was a reference to a coupon and we couldn't figure out what it was. That only relates to some internal bond management thing. It does not absolve us from making a payment, you know, I thought it was hopeful.
One free payment.
Yeah, one free
before the
payment.
coupon.
No, it's not that. We
Don't work
tried,
that
but
way.
no. Okay. Okay, I know, I did too. Yes, thank you. Matt reminds me that Mike Delahanty's grandmother also passed away this past week, so please thoughts and prayers and good memories of her too. And our sympathies to the Delahanty family. Okay. For department heads, particularly, I'm looking at highway department, there, I'm pointing my pen at Dave. There is a declaration, Vermont is a disaster area for the purposes of the December floods. And there are FEMA funds available. I think we had minimal damage here in Rutland Town. If we did have anything, say
We don't have
500 to 1,000.
Any of the criteria. We just had a couple trees down and a little bit of washout damage, but nothing even.
Okay.
house walls.
Okay, so money's available, but if we don't need it, Okay.
Send us money, we'll take it.
Yes, well, all right, thank you. Briefly, a meeting of the Veterans Memorial Committee was held. The veterans are trying to figure out what to do out here. It's been a long time coming, but they did gather. I was here. And they will be getting some, their first task is to go around, find memorials that they like, share images, and maybe come up with a plan in time so that when we're building the budget in the fall, we'll be able to include them for perhaps next year. We may also have a table at town-wide celebrations so they can maybe solicit input from people in town as to what they'd like to see out here. If you have ideas, Dave Sharnock is the chair of that committee. That was an ad hoc committee. The Rutland Town School Board is going to use this room, I believe. Okay, tomorrow, Wednesday, for a meeting concerning the budget. So I'm going to be here to open up and unlock for them. Lock your candy away. Okay, so you know. The Circle articles are due Friday, this coming Friday, the 15th. So please get those done. I will do one. And this is the next to the last circle before summer. So if you don't get it in this time, you get it in the next time, but you're running out of time. Okay, that's all I have for right now. Questions or comments from the floor, from the public? Any, we'll start in the back of the room. No, well, you guys are all regulars anyway. I gotta say, I miss Fred, you know, and there's no t-shirt. He's not wearing a t-shirt. It's too bad. Anyone on Zoom who wishes to comment who is not otherwise on the agenda for tonight? Okay, we'll move right along. John Paul is not here this evening. I think Joe's got an update on the public safety building.
Yep, I did sit in on their Friday meeting at JP's request. A couple of things going on. We're looking at maybe some additional parking at the site, and also he wanted me to just sit in on there was some stuff for the fire department and police departments regarding their antennas and stuff. And a representative from CVC was there. They're getting ready to put the roof on, so they wanted to make sure the right accommodations were made and stuff is done, because once the roof is on, it's kind of hard to do it. So I think they've got that all set up, and that stuff is moving forward. And him and I are going to talk some more about regarding the additional parking and what's going on there, and more to come, as he said. So that was just a brief overview.
Oh, good. Well, thanks for
Yeah, the
covering.
roof should be going on, I think, this week, or maybe they got up. Well, I think the snow is melted, but they delivered all the material on Friday. And it's 4 or 5 day job, I think, or something, but.
Okay.
And I have it on good, whatever, however you want, that the roofing company is one of the best. So we're good.
Good.
That sounds good.
Good, good. Vic Shappy came through to vote, so I commented to him on the good progress that was being made on the public safety building.
And if anybody's been by there and hear him jackhammer going or whatever, per the engineering standards, the water line has to be down 5.5 feet, and 25 feet from the well at the depth of 2 feet, they're into ledge. So they've been hammering it away to get rid of it, because when they ran the water line from the new well, in some places it was down about 20 or 25 inches. They put styrofoam over it, but because that's the area where the driveway is and the parking is, it has to be down 5.5 feet. So
Yeah.
they're not, somebody asked me and wanted to know what the jackman, I says, I don't know, they're probably just getting rid of a mistake, but but they're not. They're just, there's ledge there.
All right, good, thank you. So JP next, Barbara Noyes Pulling. Barbara, you're on. You need to hit unmute. Okay,
Still a muffin.
yeah, you're still muted.
No.
No.
That's funny.
Right, she just pointed to Dave Sears. I don't know. What
Might not want me talking.
All right, why don't we, okay, she's
So you're gonna try to fix-
switching. I had to do that recently. Are you back?
No, she's gone.
All right,
Working
so
on
we're
it.
gonna, Mike Rowe is not here. He was here earlier for a rec department meeting. We have a couple of things. Sharon, do you want to report? And
Sure. Everything is looking good for, Mike's doesn't know about the cracks in the pool until he opens it up for the season, and he can tell where we're at. The different organizations that use the pool as a group, Mike is limited to 4 visits per group. Otherwise, when you get that many people there all the time, the people that want to go just to swim for the day, when they come upon it, they realize that there's a ton of people and doesn't make for happy people. So he limited it to 4 visits per group.
for the
So,
summer, yeah.
yeah. The lawn, he figures the spraying for the grubs and all the other stuff that can happen. He's hoping once, but it could be twice. You just don't know. I mean, so,
So I have here,
Sharon, or excuse me, Ray.
Okay.
But we might have somebody that the highway has recently hired that has some expertise with that. If you want to have Mike get in contact with him.
I will.
My
And
son
I
and-
also told him, my
Um,
husband's licensed.
Well,
He would do it, but he doesn't want to do it all the time, but if they ran into a problem.
right, Chris worked for trees and they routinely did spraying for that kind of,
Chris,
how
okay,
Dave's newest employee.
okay. I'll
So,
let him-
and he's aware of this problems up there
Okay,
because he's helped Mike out on some other stuff. So
okay.
we
so
might have
he's-
somebody in-house that could help with that and
Okay.
give you
that's-
some ideas.
Yep,
so I will say we've got a couple of lawn care service request cards requiring signature and authorization by the board. And this is for traditional, it's to Lawn Master of Vermont traditional application for Dewey Field and the ball field at Northwood.
right.
Should we hold on these until we have a chance to talk with Mr. Howe?
I think I would.
All right, is that okay with rec?
It's fine with me. I
Okay.
mean,
Yeah, he
It's
could
not
give you
gonna
some,
kill
he
us.
might give you some other ideas.
yeah,
Because
Okay.
he was mentioning it to me about the problems that were up there because
right.
they seem to manifest themselves in certain types of weather and certain types of conditions.
When
And,
it's damp and wet.
and I think we've had those conditions. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Well-
put these, sorry, go ahead.
I imagine we don't want to set them for too long because we probably need to get on their schedule if they're going to do it.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it would make sense to authorize you to sign them if Mike thinks that that's the best thing to do. I mean, I think it's fine for him to consider other options, but if he's determined that lawn master is who should be doing it, then I don't want to hold things up.
Yeah, because if you don't get on the schedule,
All right,
So we could discuss it with him, but if he says, I want to go with that, then you would be authorized to sign it and keep
Alright.
it going.
is that a motion?
It's a motion.
Okay,
second,
motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion?
good sense to me.
Okay, all right. All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed? And it sounds like I need to visit with your guy.
He can just I'll tell him to go talk to Mike.
That's-
Okay,
We're constantly doing stuff for Mike and cutting trees and doing stuff, so.
okay. So it's, Bill, it's in the green folder, those two cards. So let me know or let Bill know what the outcome of that discussion is, and then I'll sign the cards if Mike thinks that's still the way to go. Okay, thank you very much. Barbara, you're on.
I am, right? You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Laughing threw me off. I thought it was the deja vu there. Okay, so the Planning Commission, the Town Planning Commission had an interesting subdivision I just wanted to bring to your attention. It's the old farmland. There's one parcel on North Grove and McKinley. It's on the west and east sides of North Grove, the north and south sides of McKinley. The people came in with an application to subdivide that lot, which has some non-contiguous spot or parcels, lots to it. Used to be an old farm. So they want to put two houses there. And they're going to put the rest of the parcel, which is on all of those different little vectors, in an LLC for now, no development. So expect to see two houses there. I think the driveway will be off McKinley.
Okay.
They've been working up there on that some.
Oh, yeah, I've seen work
Yeah,
around there.
the driveways are pretty much in from, I think they're using the original driveway from to the main farmhouse. And then they've split it off into two separate ones. So they didn't have to add different highway access.
Okay.
Yeah, we had to debate quite a while. I mean, was it a 2 parcel division, a 3 or a 4? We even thought at one point it might be a 5 because of these non-contiguous parts
Yeah.
to it. So I think we got it right with the 4 lots. And we'll see the final survey coming up in a few weeks, hopefully. From the regional planning commission, the energy planner there is wondering if the town would like to become part of a multi-town energy consortium. I mean, it's a group of other energy committees for the region. So I wanted to just let you know about that question. Your mini grant from the state is still sitting there, the $4,000. So
Sitting
Yeah.
there needing our approval or,
Somebody to
oh,
use it
it's
for.
just sitting there, as far as I know. You've gotten the money, and
oh, okay,
you've got a few years to spend it.
okay. Well,
So I know-
one of the things we do is reorganize the committees, so we do have a energy committee.
Okay. Yeah, and maybe we can, maybe you could entertain something at the townwide celebration or something.
Okay.
Some
Okay.
event there.
Good.
And then there's also a new state energy grant for reducing greenhouse emissions. It's the state is doing a survey now of what towns might be interested in, what kinds of projects they might want to apply for, and then the state will get the money from the feds in a final application and grant. Back to the Town Planning Commission, we'll do a deep dive into the housing survey for
Yeah.
Rutland Town at our next meeting on March 28th. And we have some reappointments
Yes.
after the town meeting. Dana Peterson, Mary Beth Poley, Norm Cohen, and Jim Hall, and myself. Everyone's interested in being reappointed. Jim, because of health reasons, health concerns, he had a special request. He's wondering if his term could be 1 year, and then he would evaluate it then. that is specifically from him, but basically all five are willing to take on another term.
And I think Norm was an alternate, correct?
Norm and Jim.
Norm and Jim both are alternates? Okay. Well, thank you for surveying the planning commission. Do you folks want to take a vote on that this evening? All five wish to re-up, so I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
Motion's been made by Sharon,
Second.
seconded by Joe, that we reappoint the five named people, alternates Norm Cohen, Jim Hall, regular members, Barbara Noyes Pulling, Dana Peterson, and
Mary
Who
Beth
did I
Poley.
miss? Mary Beth
Mary.
Foley. Yeah, sorry. Out walking her dogs the other day. Any discussion?
Do we want to,
Oh, the 1-year term for
do we want
Jim?
to oblige Jim? I'm okay with.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we can do that, or we could just appoint him, and then if he feels that he needs to come off, but if he'd rather just have a 1-year term, I think we can do that. I'm not really sure. We'll just go ahead and do it.
There's 2 groups of 3-year appointments
Yeah,
right now. So there's a group of 4 and a group of 5.
okay.
And we're doing, he's an alternate, so. That's it.
Throw things off.
Well, we'll appoint him, and if he feels the need to drop off, just let us know. Okay, all in favor of those 5 being reappointed, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous, so you can let them all know and thank them for their willingness to continue. They do good work there.
Will do, yeah. That's all I have, unless there's any questions.
Questions from the select board? Okay. Guess that's it. Thank you, Barbara, and thank you for your good work.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Okay, Dave Sears, Town Road Commissioner. And we have a few things.
Evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Notice Barbara decided to stay home after she got trapped here last week.
Dave,
Oh, do tell.
I just noticed things. So just an update on our winter stuff. Contractors, we're up to 29 calls. I'm pretty sure we're in the clear here, but yeah, it's kind of safe.
I hope so.
We got about 100 tons of salt left in the building.
I was gonna say, you could have outweighed, or you could have waited yesterday out, but a lot of people have been unhappy.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
really on in like less than
It's
20
fine.
hours.
I
Our
know, I
roads
can't
were
believe
good.
that it's the grass is showing.
Yeah.
That's the way we like it. I mentioned the last time I was here that we were working on the maintenance for the wrecked vehicles. We got that stuff all done.
Thank you.
So he's ready to mow when there is no snow. We had a rash of tree incidents. I'm not really sure what was going on there, but it's just trees just fell down. So we had one on Victoria, one on Grover. And then we cleaned up a couple that were from the winter on Timber and Blue Ridge. So we spent a couple days, a day and a half, cleaning up trees.
Speaking of which, there is a Widowmaker on Quarter Line Road, just at the town line with Clarendon, you know, a branch that's just ready to come down. It's probably down by now, but
Oh, I think we said it's straight up and down. Yeah, we haven't figured out how to reach that.
gotcha.
That's some kind of a problem.
Stand under it.
Well, yeah, that would do it.
Park a
cut it
vehicle
at
The
under-
reason, and the reason we saw that was because we were on Quarter Line Road filling enormous potholes last week. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we looked at that and we were like,
Okay,
Cut it at the stump.
that's a good way. That'd do it.
the whole tree?
That would do it.
Get some Widowmaker
Well,
down.
If it's
Leave that to
within,
your discretion, but it's going to be down one of these days.
It will be. So we installed a couple new reflective PEDX signs up on Post Road by the school. There was a couple of them that were
Yes.
pretty faded, and so we put those up. And then we actually installed a couple of reduced speed signs on Post Road prior to the flashing beacon lights now, so that it's kind of like there's that warning like, okay, reduce speed, because before, the way it was kind of set up was, it was just all of a sudden it was 25 miles an hour and
Mhm.
and then the lights were flashing and it was like, what? So we just put up a couple of reduced speed signs just before those, and now JP can do his thing. We pulled the liquid tanks off our trucks in anticipation of not having to need them anymore. And
The mystic.
yesterday was fun had by all.
Yeah.
Gets us up to where we are today.
Two mailboxes were trashed on Creek Road, including mine.
Oh, no.
Oops.
Yeah, it's okay, it's back, but
Oh.
just thought I'd mention that.
That heavy wet snow will do it.
Yeah,
Blow them right off.
I know the policy. The blade has to actually hit the post. And the heavy spray is not enough unless there's physical contact. So I understand the rule.
I took off the retired road commissioner's mailbox up in Mendon. Oops, oops.
Way to go,
My
Kurt.
bad.
So that's kind of our goalpost now. As long as we don't exceed that, we're all good.
Yeah.
Okay, now we do have in our packet the certification of compliance for town road and bridge standards and the network inventory. And it last week or last time we met, it lacked the income and expenses piece, which is now attached to it. I think this is A in your packet. Do we have a motion?
To approve. We all get to sign?
Yes,
I guess we do.
I've got the original. So if you approve it, is there a second?
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion or questions for a road commissioner?
If I remember right, I think this is why at one point in time, the highway budget was split up between winter and summer maintenance.
Oh,
It helped with filling
Oh,
this
that
out
makes sense.
back in the day.
interesting.
And then that got changed at some point, but
Okay.
yeah, I think that's what helped some of that, or what created that split at least.
Makes sense.
And we looked at our budget, and we did a quick calculation and yes, it exceeds $300 a mile.
Easily.
So I think we're good. Any further questions or discussion? If not, all in favor of signing the certification of compliance, please say aye.
I
Anyone opposed? I'll vote aye. Okay. What else do we have? Anything else?
Mutual aid agreement.
Oh, yeah, why don't we do that? This is the Rutland Regional Planning Commission Emergency Mutual Aid Agreement. It is C in your packet. There's a little note here that says fill in. So we have as primary aiding official, Dave Sears, Town Road Commissioner, primary requesting official, Dave Sears. And then it appears that we need alternates to each. This is for official contact information. So do we have an alternate? Do you have an alternate to
Who's been the
suggest?
alternate in the past, you
Yeah.
know?
Didn't me, but
Okay, then we can put Bill in because he's just volunteered.
Sounds.
Okay, good. I like the way you do that.
Yeah, walked right into that.
Okay, so is there a motion to, and I think we all get to sign?
Mutual aid
Oh,
agreement.
sign here. No, just one of us, just for the mutual aid agreement.
Is it us or is it the road commission?
Oh, it's gotta be signed. by
I
the
think it
select
has to be signed by select board
I move that we sign the mutual aid agreement and authorize Mary to sign on behalf of the board
and add Bill as
Second.
and
alternate.
Bill as alternate.
Okay, motion's made and seconded for Bill as alternate and Mary to sign approving the mutual aid agreement discussion.
Same as
One-
last year.
One thing that will happen is if they call the highway phone, if it's a weekend emergency, they're going to get the on-call person. So even though it's Dave, it's automatically going to go to one of the other crew members. And if it's something they can't handle, I imagine they're going to call you.
Yeah, I mean, the way we've got it set up, it actually works really well. Like, we have this little group text set up with, on my personal phone. So if somebody else has a phone, if they have any questions or whatever, they just shoot me a text like right then. And we just go. And it's all in a group, so everybody knows what's going on, so.
Good setup.
Good. Anything else? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
I-
Aye. Anyone opposed? No one opposed. I'm going to sign it, and Bill, you can fill in your information.
So with the delivery and put in service of the new highway truck, it would probably be appropriate that we advertise the 350 out for bid.
Yeah, we've been putting together some pictures and a description and all of that stuff.
Do we have somewhere in the files what we put the last time, Bill?
I gave it to them this morning so they can update it and.
It's got a few more miles, a couple of more years of service, but it does have a year-old sander in it, which is kind of a nice, beat the other sander. So,
We need a due date, a minimum, and what's included in the details. And we got-
probably the minimum will come down a little because it's a little older, but that's, you can kind of come up with a, the trucks haven't gotten any cheaper in 2 years.
No,
Hmm.
And I wouldn't be a bit surprised if we didn't get offered what we got offered the last time. But whatever, but you've got all the paperwork, so you're good to go in the daylight. So
I don't think we need to authorize the sale until we get a bid, right?
Right.
Okay.
we just
So-
give them the go ahead to advertise it and whatever time frame we did, and we'll see who, just make sure that the paperwork just says that the town reserves the right to reject any and all bids. In case we get like no bids, or really somebody wants it for a couple bucks,
$100.
$100, because then I'll want in on it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Then you and I will go back and forth.
Well, maybe me too. We'll see.
Yeah, okay. All right. That was the only thing I was thinking of.
Yeah, good, thanks. Anything else for the road commissioner?
March 25th at 9,
25th at 9. Yep.
At
We'll
your
be
highway
opening
committee meeting? Oh, the bids.
the bids for the paving.
Paving.
Yeah.
And I also, I put out a bid last week for sewer cleaning services. I'm basically looking for culvert stuff.
Yeah.
We have a mountain of culverts that are half full, 3/4 full, third full, whatever. And I would like to do, like, line somebody up for a week and just clean culverts. So I put that out to bid on Friday, so we'll open that on that 25th also.
And to that note, when you're doing your committees, I would like to stay on highway. I'd stay where I am if that's up to you.
Okay, no, I think that's, I don't know what we're gonna do with personnel. I sense some rebellion there,
You,
but
you can't switch that up now.
That's
You're
right.
that deep into
You
it. You're that deep into it. You can't throw somebody else in the middle of that mess.
yeah, okay. Anything else for our road commissioner? Nope, good, thank you very much.
Some of us are really good at delegating to somebody
You
else.
know, what's that saying that you never ask someone to do what you wouldn't be willing to do yourself?
That's right.
I'm rethinking that. Marcia Chaffee, head lister.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening, Marcia.
We got our business personal property declarations out and they're trickling in. Multiple of them are very, very simple that we believe that our lister board is going to be able to take care of them. We had a full day webinar, full day at Killington Gateway for a CAMA webinar, and Jack and I attended that. And today we had a 4-hour current use webinar, and on Thursday we will have another 4-hour current use webinar. There's a lot of changes going on between NIMRIC and VT Pi with current use. So it's been interesting, and hopefully we won't have too many changes in Rutland Town, so we won't have to really delve into changing a lot in Rutland Town. There's also multiple webinars and coming up that I would encourage both Jack and Marie to attend, whether it be in person or in as a webinar. So, but other than that, that's about it for me.
Okay, Marcia, you sent me a listing of all of the towns that still have taxable personal property. Thank you
Yeah.
for that, and I shared it with the select board. It should be on your desk, or did I send it to you directly? I can't remember which it was.
It's on our desk, yeah.
Okay,
And thank you, Marcia, for the amount I asked for on what the personal property generated.
Oh, you're welcome. Bill.
any additional questions or comments for our town head lister? Okay, if not, thank you, Marcia.
Well, I just thought it was interesting that Rutland Town was #1 in the state of Vermont for
Yeah.
personal property.
I think it's the machinery and equipment must be GE, huh?
Yes, well, GE, but there are others as well. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, that's a good bit of information. Thanks. Okay, Chris Clark, Town Fire Chief.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Just a couple things. I was gonna ask Dave this when he was up there still, but not for this coming summer, but next year. Is it possible to put the Center Rutland Fire Station on the paving list? Can we put it in the town highway bid? Does that work, or do you have to do it separately, or? The driveway's starting to fall apart there, and I don't want it to look like the old McKinley station, so I'd rather get it fixed while it's still
Yeah, we can add that in.
salvageable. Okay. I'm not
Good.
thinking this year, just next year. I didn't realize you already put stuff out to bid this year. So I'll
Right.
get a hold of you next fall.
Well, give me a call next week, because I got another thing in the works. If I can get the class 2 paving bid, I got to put that out. So I got to put another thing out this year anyway. So if I get that. So
Okay.
If you got money, I don't know if you got the money or not.
I don't know. I will, I'll call you next week and we can talk about it.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay,
Um,
good.
And secondly, speaking of money, I had the fire alarm tested at Center Rutland Station and it failed. So we need a new alarm panel at the cost of $6,870.64. So I
That
just
didn't
want to
last
get.
long.
Oh, yeah, really?
No, they
Okay.
told me that the one, I don't know what kind's in there, but back in 2014, it wasn't top of the line to begin with, and they've had nothing but problems with this brand. So they're
Oh.
replacing them all over the place, and we're one of the fortunate ones that needs a new one.
All right, that's over 5,000, so unless it's a preferred vendor you're going to use, you probably should look at going out to bid or look at what the state's bid.
It's a preferred vendor, but it's also Royals who takes care of it. So I don't know if they're gonna want to take care of something somebody else puts in. I don't know how that works, but
Yeah, you just want Royals to go put a panel in.
I almost
Are
think,
are Royals a preferred vendor?
yes, I think so. I think,
They
they're-
take care of our stuff up at the highway.
yeah, they do mostly all the towns.
All right,
I'm wondering if they didn't put that system in for VMS when they built the building. I almost think Royals did. I can't remember who the fire alarm system was. Maybe
I don't
not.
remember.
Because knowing them, they wouldn't have put something that wasn't good in. So maybe it was
Yeah.
somebody else.
Well, why don't you get us some,
A little bitter.
yeah, if you could get us a couple of at least some idea if there's anybody else out there.
know, if we're gonna have Royals do it, I think, Mary, I think we should just award them.
Do we know how much it is? I mean, is it an exact number, Chris, or do you have, is that an estimate or?
That's the quote they gave me when I asked them for a quote.
It is a quote, okay.
And
Oh.
do you have enough money in your building maintenance for that?
No, I do not.
Okay,
This has got to come out of capital,
probably. Mhm.
fire department capital.
Would that, would we be able to, we can't take that out of the depreciation fund, or can we? That's for the, more for equipment, not structures. So would that be authorized to take it out of the town's capital improvement fund?
I think so.
Why don't you make a motion and then we'll talk about it.
All right, I move that we allow Chris to purchase the replacement fire alarm system panel from Royals as per his numbers.
Second,
And the money to come out of, motions made and seconded.
The money, I would like to see it come out of the capital improvement fund for the town, but I don't know how much of that we spend, because that comes to the other Clark family member to tell us. Yeah.
Just say
it's
no,
either-
Carrie.
It's either that or you overspend the highway budget or the fire
Fire
budget
budget.
by the $6,000. It would be better to keep it in their maintenance to,
That might be the better way of doing that.
you know, that would be the better way.
So your motion is to
To
keep it
keep it
within
in,
the
within the
department.
fire department's
Okay.
building maintenance.
Okay. So motion is to purchase a new alarm panel from Royals as a preferred vendor, not to exceed $6,000, and money to come from the fire department budget from wherever they might be able to find it. Okay, motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion?
I have one thing.
Okay,
You said don't go over 6,000. The quote is $6,870.64.
okay, well, so we'll amend the motion in the second to have that exact amount. Okay. Anything else before we vote? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Right.
Aye, motion carries. So go ahead and get it. Thank you, Chris.
All right, thank you.
Used all the bond money over there, right?
Yeah, I think we did, because we put it toward.
We're
Yeah,
using
put it
yeah.
towards, yeah.
We're using it on the other thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that building not properly protected.
No. Carrie Clark, town clerk and treasurer.
Which also puts a little more emphasis on Dave's building. Your alarm system for what it's protecting now. You know, you can replace all of your plow trucks for any one of those pumpers and then have money left over to buy yourself a truck or two.
Don't put ideas in this. Right. Nice selection.
Thank you very much. I
Very
don't think
well
we're
done.
over with it yet.
Yes.
All right, in front of you, I put the updated local options tax money that was awarded to us
Or did I miss that?
recently. You to find it. Technically, it's our third installment for the fiscal year.
There we are.
It is $403,753.77, which brings us to over our anticipated budget of 1.2 million by $78,394. So at this point, anything that comes to us in May will be extra.
So we've got one installment to go still.
Oh, yeah,
Good.
cool.
All right.
Correct.
Well, that's good news.
That is good news. Been pretty steady.
So Carrie, any that would be over, would that like if any of our other budgets were over expended, would that go to offset that shortage?
That's what it's supposed
To
to
do,
do.
okay.
That's what it's supposed to
I
do.
think that's what happened last year, if I remember right. Well, that's good to know.
It's all in that calculated,
Yeah.
the calculation that we sign in the summer for our tax rate.
Mhm.
And it gets
Yes.
figured into it's part of the overflow of the budgets and how it works out.
Okay.
Quick reminder that dogs are due April 1st. Dog licenses are due April 1st. We are not seeing the amount of people that years past has seen, especially even before I got here. We are almost in April and we haven't even seen 80 people. And
For
we
dog
usually-
licenses?
Yeah.
So you think there's a lot of unlicensed dogs out there?
I guarantee there's a lot of
Okay.
unlicensed dogs out there. I mean, we can all see them.
Yeah. Okay.
It will go into the newspaper. I just asked for that. So it's out in the public.
Okay, please, people, get your dogs licensed before April 1st. Oh, just, okay. I have a neighbor, I'll remind. Thank you.
It's like going in the circle.
Ah,
Yes.
circle?
It's a great idea. I do have
Yeah.
to still write that article.
I read that closer and I read the classifieds.
I'll keep that in mind. All right. There is a liquor license approval on your desk, Mary, for three
right.
businesses that are normal town
The
businesses.
three Hannafords are JW Sandry Inc., a second-class license. Hannaford's,
Yeah,
AKA Martin's Foods of South Burlington, a second-class license, and 99 Restaurants of Vermont. And I'm looking at the chief of police. Any issues with any of these three? Okay, so is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second,
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion? We all get to sign this. If not, all in favor, please say aye.
aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously.
While you're signing that,
I am.
I will just kind of go over very quickly. Last Tuesday, we had our
Yes,
town
please.
meeting.
Mhm.
It felt like a lot of people. It really did. But technically, we had two elections within one. As we all know, we voted our local ballot and some of us also voted the presidential primary. I mean, or both. The presidential primary had about 34% turnout of our voters, and the local had about 37%
Okay.
of turnout for our voters. So it was a little less than it felt like, but I think it went pretty smoothly as always. I also spent the day with my friend Fred, whom I always spend the day with on election day to my right. He's always like the first. And I just want to extend my condolences to his family. He's definitely in my thoughts and going to be missed
Yes.
a lot. So yeah. But the conclusion is that everything passed except for a few school things, which brings me to we're going to have another election.
Yes.
Mhm.
That you didn't plan
Um,
for,
Huh?
that you didn't plan for.
Right, that we didn't budget for.
No,
Yeah.
either.
No, and so I have a little bit of better, clear information from the state. I thought that it was going to be covered. I thought they were setting aside money for these extra elections, but it turns out that money is for if we didn't vote on the school budget and we put that off. So we actually did vote, so yeah,
Oh,
that's,
right,
that's
okay.
on us. So as you may or may not be aware, there's tonight's select board meeting for the school that's happening right now, that was open to the public, to discuss their agenda as well as portion of the rehash of the school budget, and that's what didn't pass. There is a meeting here tomorrow night. Also encouraging the public to visit the school board. I believe it's going to be in here
I
just
think
like
it's
you.
here. Yeah.
And it is warned for a Google Meet virtual meeting as well during that time. So I'm hoping that they could use the technology in here.
I think Tina was gonna come over and learn how to run it because nobody trusted me. And that's fine.
That wasn't exactly what we said.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of work ahead of me. So I reached out to Tina, who's the chair of the board, today, and we discussed some things. She comes at this with her knowledge of school board, and I come at this with my knowledge of elections, two different worlds trying to collide
Mm.
here. So if you're hearing this, I'm hopeful that if you have any concerns about the school budget and you want to voice them, or you want to hear what they're talking about, tomorrow would be the day to come here
And what
at
time
6
is it here?
o'clock.
6 o'clock.
6
Okay.
o'clock. Her plan, and this is not, I mean, they're having their meeting right now, so I don't know what they're discussing, but her plan earlier today was to have these two meetings. Then they get together and they discuss the budget as a school board, kind of come up with their plan, and then next week present it to the public. She was thinking Wednesday, but I can't say that for sure because we were just discussing it, and then get it finalized. So if you want to weigh in, now's the time to weigh in. I did put their warning on our town Facebook page. I'd like to get the communication out there for those that don't use social media, but the time constraints is really tricky. So if you know someone that does not use social media, please tell them about this. This is kind of like my
Do we?
public service
We don't
announcement.
know when the revote is, or do we?
So Tina and I did discuss a date. She had one in mind. I'm hoping, I did send her an email saying maybe you guys could push it back a little bit. I was first under the impression that it had to be by April 15th, but again, that date has to do with those towns that did not vote on their school budget and put that off
Mhm.
because of the H-850 from the legislator. So we did vote, so there is not a deadline. I have that in writing, and that is so important that I hope that they really think about that. As long as we can come to an agreement as a town, as voters, by June 30th for a
Okay.
school budget. But then if we can't, then there's an alternative. I'm saying this because time is of the essence in this sort of world, but I'm glad that there's not a deadline where we have to rush around and not get the voter participation that I would hope.
You still need to leave time for another vote. Just in
Absolutely,
case. So you're gonna,
absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah.
you gotta do it by end of April.
End of
probably.
April is what I'm thinking for the first one. And then that way, May or June, if that one doesn't pass, because we have two more chances. So that's the plan. As I hear more, certainly put it out there.
Okay.
Can't be the week of 15th because that's vacation.
Oh,
Correct. And
People will be.
I will
gone.
be alone in the office, so that cannot
Okay.
happen.
People will be, a lot of people will be gone.
Yeah.
You know, it always
Probably.
disappoints me when roughly a third of the voters in town authorize or whatever the amount of money we spent. It's kind of disappointing.
So one of the bullet points I did give to Tina, including this whole date thing, is have a discussion about what we did with the public safety building. We sent a ballot out to every active voter to give them the opportunity to voice their opinion. They didn't have to, but they were given that opportunity. So I let her know that that's always an option too.
With an expense that they're gonna have to,
I think, is it us?
well,
I have a feeling this is all on us.
well, I think so, but if they, here, this is a good question. If they opt to mail a ballot out to every voter, who is responsible for that expense? Because we haven't budgeted for it.
No, I know.
But I don't
And-
know, you may have to find out,
Yeah,
Carrie, if
yeah,
they can
why don't we-
authorize that or if the board has to
Yeah.
authorize it.
True.
If we authorize it, then we're on the hook, right? The town would be. But if the school board authorizes that, then I would think they, because we did that for the public safety
We
building.
did.
And
That's right.
we
I
took
know, I
that
said that.
responsibility for the expense.
Yeah.
We
To make
did.
sure everybody had the opportunity, whether you wanted, the
Mhm.
opportunity and actually convenience. To
Yeah,
vote in your own home,
Absolutely.
put it in the mail and get it back yourself. Those are some
Absolutely.
questions you guys,
I think that's
clerk.
fair. Yes.
Your other hat.
You can ask. To be fair, you probably, well, I don't know if maybe fair is not the right word, to be safe. You probably want to leave half week before and after vacation week open as well, because people will leave early and they'll come back late.
Oh, absolutely. You mean, so the date that she had in mind falls into that, what you just said. So I'm kind of frightened.
Well, that's,
I'm a little frightened because,
Last full week of April.
The
um,
30th.
but fortunately, that's up to the school board.
Right.
so
yeah.
yeah, it's
Yep.
And they'll probably want to work very diligently on getting those passed, so they need to accommodate the voters
Yes.
every possible way. you can.
So
to
that's
accommodate
as to
the-
the budget. Are they gonna revote the bond or not at this time?
I didn't hear them say anything about the bond.
Okay.
I'd be suicidal.
I saw a comment in the Herald from Tina and it sounded like that was gonna be the bond was gonna be put off, but that's
That's one-
before she met with the board,
one of
so.
the bigger factors that killed their budget this year.
Exactly.
I think it was too much
It was,
dollars
yeah.
for people this way.
Okay, anything else? So we'll wait for
Oh, you were there, you-
your guidance, but the question of who pays for mailing out the ballots is gonna be something that should come
What
to
about-
Tina's attention.
I just feel as though there's so many questions
Yeah,
right
there
now.
are a lot.
There's a
Most
lot.
of which we don't have to be involved with, except we've got to pay for the election.
I'd like to know, and there's no clear answer as always. There isn't a clear answer of whose job is whose during this.
Well, I bet you they don't have any money.
Carrie,
Yes.
what
They
about,
don't budget
I know.
for election.
And I'm talking like everything, like,
So I mean, we'll pay for the election because we have to do that, but who's paying for the ballots to be
Right.
mailed is the issue.
Carrie,
yes.
does that give you enough time to get ballots out to veterans that are overseas?
No, so the original date we discussed this morning, absolutely not.
Then that's unfair.
Absolutely
If we
not.
have people serving our country, protecting our butts, then they have the right to vote. And if Tina doesn't
There-
like it, I'm
No,
sorry.
there is a way for voting that comes in via email. There's an electronic way for overseas people to vote.
Yes.
I've
and
seen
that's
them
not,
come through.
Yeah, I'm just firmly,
I'm
that
not
veterans have a right
concerned about
to
that
vote.
Well,
part.
people serving in the military.
That's
sure,
right.
Yeah.
You're correct, Mary. There's an electronic ballot, I
Yep.
do believe. I'm not concerned about that part. I'm concerned about those many people in our town that go south during the winter. And they request an absentee ballot and they did for town meeting. That's kind of their thing. And if we do it, if the time is too close, there's no time to send it out and get it back.
Yeah.
So I really encouraged them to think about the absentee voters.
Good.
We had about 120 this town meeting.
A good chunk of your voters.
Yeah.
At this point, yes. Yes,
There's a good chance the second vote will be less people participating.
Yeah.
absolutely. Yep. So that's all I had. I know it's a lot, but
Did we had write-in offices? We had a couple of blank offices. Were there enough write-in votes to hit the minimum on any of those?
So moderator and grand juror were both the write-in,
Mhm.
and you have to have a 30
Okay.
to to win it, basically.
Mhm.
There was only one person that came very, very close in grand juror.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know how that works. You guys appoint those
We
people,
do
maybe?
appoint for vacancies, but so what we've done in the past is taken a look at the write-ins, which I think now you can just generate, and you probably have numbers.
Absolutely.
So
They're
if you-
hanging out in the hallway, but
Okay.
the person for the, I don't know if this is, but
We're not going to do it tonight, but
Okay.
if we have it for the next meeting, that would be great.
oh yeah,
And
it's right
just
out there.
Give it to Bill and he'll stick it in the packet.
Didn't we
Thank you.
appoint somebody?
We did, but grand juror comes
Right,
up every year.
But,
Yeah.
well, maybe that person wants the job again.
They're the
Well-
leading vote getter.
Huh?
They are the
That
leading vote
person, I
getter.
would,
Oh, okay.
Okay, good.
That's easy enough.
All right.
so for next meeting, that
Next
person,
meeting, yeah.
yes.
Okay. Anything else for our town clerk? Again, I thought it was a very well-run election. Thank you very much. And have you spoken to the technicians for the machine and the hypersensitivity on them?
I haven't had a chance to do that recently. I will comment that it worked well. It worked much better this time than it did a year ago
Okay.
at town meeting, due to the maintenance on it. And us telling voters to be very careful when we
Yeah.
were handing out ballots seemed to work as well. The amount of ballots that we had to count were so minimal this year.
Good.
I think it was 13 in the
Wow.
auxiliary, and that was great. Last year was about 60 or more. So that saved on some time. So thank you to the voters for listening, and we'll try to do better next year
Good.
or
Thank you
in a
much.
couple of weeks.
Anything else from any select board member? Okay, thanks again, Carrie.
Thank you.
All right, Mike Delahanty, first constable. Okay, good
Evening.
evening.
It's good to see you guys. As I heard you earlier today, I just wanted to thank everybody in this room, on the call, the residents of the town, in this community for the support to my family over the last month. It's been a lot, but one thing about small communities like this, when you need people the most, they're there. And my family has been overwhelmed with the support from their phone calls and the texts and emails and the cards, and we appreciate it more than anybody would even imagine. So thank you for that.
Most welcome.
I have one update, and it's from the property on the corner of Gleason and Route 4. Today finally, we did get it secured, and where the building was struck, it is a temporary fix until Mr. Ruggiero has, when the weather gets better, which let's hope that it's here. Dave says it is. That his plan is to pour new concrete or stone or brick wall, cinder block wall. So we'll see. I'll keep a track of that. But for now, the building is secured. You can't get in and out of it unless somebody obviously forces their way into it. But it's been a little bit of time. I apologize, but it is as of this afternoon. I went there to confirm that it is secure. So they picked up the blocks that had fallen to the ground, and I did walk around the property and check those doors. So it is secure. And when you do go by the plywood and stuff that's where the building was struck, that is temporary.
Okay.
And he knows that, he understands that, and he's been good about it. And he said, once the weather gets better, we'll have more of a permanent fix. So there'll be more on that.
Thank you.
Beyond that, that's all I've got for you for now.
Okay, any questions of our first constable?
You guys figure out who backed into it?
So Officer Placus helped me investigate that. Not a single camera points in that direction. We tried everybody, and unfortunately we have nothing.
Oh, well.
Yep. So,
Oops.
and no one's come forward, and I don't think it was any of Dave's guys. So
Yeah, they're into mailboxes.
that's right. That's right. So,
cement block.
That's right. That's right. So. and that's
Okay, thank you,
awesome.
Mike,
Well,
very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay. Ed Dumas, Town Police Chief. Good evening. Okay, we have a couple of handouts on our desk.
Okay, the first we're going through is the our last 2 weeks. I'd like to say give my condolences to the Nicholson family also.
Yes.
Could be missed. He busted my chops more than anybody in this room. I appreciated that because he didn't care who I was or what I represented. He let me know what he thought, and I appreciate that very much.
Do we have a speed trap out for him at one point?
I did not.
I think there was perhaps someone who did. Yeah.
So the last 2 weeks, we had 61 calls for service and we had 3 traffic stops. As you can see, the second constable is on vacation at this point in time. Any questions about those there? I did want to bring up one thing on the last page. If I look at it, I'll remember what I was thinking. As you see the top 5 areas where we have complaints, Rutland Town South is where we're the most busy once again.
Yep.
Yeah, any questions on this at all?
Are things getting any better?
So let's move to this sheet here.
Okay.
One that lays out the monthly stats. If you go to the 2023 line, and you look at starting in August, I believe that's when the sale of the Cortina went through. Is that
The end
correct?
of June.
End of June?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
End of June. So starting in August, you compare
Yeah.
all the years above it from 2019 down to 2023, it starts going up.
Yeah.
Continues to go up except for December.
Mhm.
And we did say this year Christmas seemed to be a lull in things. And then January and February of this year, 2024, things have picked up again. It's the most busy we've been ever in those 2 months right there. And this year or this month, we spent out of 180 calls, we had 139 cases in the south end. And that was 77% of our time we spent down there. I've heard how true it is that there was a deal made with Anil.
Mhm.
I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Sachdev.
Sachdev made an agreement for, I think, 700 rooms for the state of Vermont at a reduced rate of $80.
Yeah. And
Ooh,
that's Anil.
Anil,
$80. The price went down. The state is paying less.
right.
Half a minute.
But that's
half.
not the Holiday Inn because the management has changed. So, or the ownership has changed. So,
might have to go back to renting rooms to real people, real
Yeah.
customers, because that's,
well, that's the pressure we were hoping for.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's either that or the condition of the place is going to decline even more.
No, that will probably.
so will that
also occur.
include his facility here in Rutland, or is that other places?
I'm not sure of all the facilities that he owns, but he was able to broker a deal for 700 rooms. So
Yeah.
I'd
It's got
say,
140 there, 147.
I
Where?
think they said 140 for the Rutland.
Rutland, Cortina's 140 rooms.
He's not Cortina.
Well, whatever.
He could still be involved and encourage it.
But isn't he part of this? Or is he-
There was an article, I think it was a VT Digger.
Yeah,
There was some, or maybe it was the Herald, but somebody talked with Anil, but he wasn't counting the Cortina rooms. So, but that doesn't mean that the new owner, Dhruv,
But he's part
isn't
of that
also,
group.
well, he's not part of the 700 that Anil was, that's how I took it. He wasn't part of that 700, but he may very well continue in the program. And we'll know if we get,
I guess
continued
the
payments.
point I'm-
April 1st is, yeah,
the point I'm trying to make is if we hear that they got half price for the rooms because they're trying to work with the state, therefore we should go down on what we we can't because they may have, be getting paid half price, but we're getting,
This tells it,
exactly, we're getting
Right.
more,
Right.
okay,
just so you know.
yep.
I think that's, at some point in time,
Funny that they always said that that wasn't a way of making a living if they, but they have 700 rooms into this program. That seems like they're not.
think I
Well,
did the
I
math,
don't
like
think other
56
towns are imposing what we're imposing.
No, but it,
Yeah,
you know, I was under the impression when they discussed this with us that this was something they were doing in the interim,
Mhm.
transitioning from hospitality to do this till they could go somewhere else. But if you have got 700 rooms throughout the state, it sounds like this is what you're doing for a living. And that you're seeking this economic funding from the state, not doing it as a stop, it kind of bothers me to the credibility of what they keep telling us. I guess
Yes.
that's where I'm going with that.
$42,000 a day.
I think it's $56,000 a day
60?
with
Oh,
80
80.
Yeah.
80 times 70 is
Yeah,
56.
times 70, yeah.
times 700 times
Yeah.
a year, you're over
Yeah,
$20 million.
56,000.
Throughout
So-
the state of Vermont.
Now, April 1st, if the housing program continues at the Cortina, there is a 5% bump up in what is paid to the town. So that'll tell us something if that payment is made. I did hear the ad hoc housing group that I sit with every other Friday morning. There are conversations between the city and Agency of Human Services and an attempt to go through the area and find some longer term transitional housing projects. And they were looking at Rutland Town, and I made the comment that nobody had been in touch with us and they may want to do that. So if AHS DCF reaches out to you, they should be talking with us if they're going to be citing longer term transitional housing in our town.
Okay.
Matt?
You've sometimes had census numbers for them. Do you want to, maybe you could just ask Drew what he's at? Say, hey,
At the-
that
I
increase.
can find out.
Yeah,
I don't, at the top of my head, I think the last was 140 rooms.
that sounds pretty consistent.
That's- Yeah.
Most of the rooms they have, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think there's 147 and our 48's
Yeah,
max.
I mean, so other. The news reporting was Neil was trying to encourage other hotels to participate, apparently. But there's some owners are certainly gonna get out, so that may just mean that more of them shift down here.
yeah.
And as we assumed would be the case, they'll probably, they'll be here through June until they come up with the next thing, so.
The Days Inn, which had participated, is no longer, and they're now doing what they said they were going to do, which is rehabbing the units and moving forward in the hospitality business. So good for them.
Yeah, they've been very, they reached out to us a few times, but they were afraid to call us on a few things. I'm like, no, call us.
Call.
Just
Yeah, we could do
normal
that.
issues that come up
Right.
and we took care of
Should we
them.
send them a letter as a town thanking them?
I think that would be an excellent idea. Bill, would you
For sticking to what they said.
draft something up and stick it on next? Now, that's a really good idea. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I mean, they've kept their word.
They kept
did
their
what they
word.
did.
Yep.
They probably got enough money to do their renovations, so,
Yeah, they
they're
probably
okay.
did.
it's a good business move, but not long-term, which is in the long run, I think, going to be smarter.
The other thing, I got brought to my attention, I wanted to wait for a police commission meeting, but it's kind of, I'd just like to put it out there. We don't have to discuss
Okay.
it tonight. Is, CFAC, is looking to have somebody, they want us to sponsor an officer position there. Nobody that we have now, we'd have to get some, I think the last I knew was $80,000 allocated to the department to sponsor an officer to work at that.
That's
place.
what we did for you for
It
quite a
is.
number
It
of
is.
years.
It
Yeah.
is.
I-
Okay,
that-
I'm just putting out there to think about it. We talk about it in the police commission.
Yeah,
meeting
we
and,
should do that and see what their proposal is.
I know there's some retired officers that are looking to get
Maybe
done
they should talk with the school
to school.
and their school resource officer.
But
But she's under your direction,
Right,
right?
that's true. So we
And-
still would
and-
come back to the police committee. Okay,
right,
we should have a
and-
meeting.
I don't
And
think
plus
we'd want to
she-
give her up.
Not
No,
really.
and she's only a level 2 and she'd be doing mostly felony cases. She has to be a level 3.
Okay,
So that
all
would-
right.
So,
I know
so
there's some retired or officers who want to retire out there or looking for something to do.
Okay. All right.
And I've been approached by CFAC to ask, so I'm asking.
So
Okay.
were you, when we took you away from them? Did they ever replace you?
Not really.
Not really. So that's what they're looking.
The
for.
sheriffs, they took Amber Hool for a
Yeah.
short time, then she has moved on to bigger and better things down, she's getting more education, so
Okay.
if there's this big gap, they have one trooper right there right now, and the city comes in when they can to handle a few cases. So they're really short-handed.
So that person would be assigned pretty much, that would be their,
That would be their gig right
that
there.
would, they would be
Yeah.
doing that and not really. And they pay for it, but they kind of give us the money. We hire the person and they work for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Just
In
so
your case,
everybody's
you were
kinda clear
also
on how that
putting in
works.
some time for the town. We were a little concerned about, working so many hours.
Right.
Remember that? Yeah. Okay. All right. Police committee meeting then.
Okay,
Good, thank you.
thank you.
Any other questions for our police chief?
Are we still looking at another officer? Am I correct?
It is still it's certainly budgeted for the budget passed. So
Okay.
we're looking at that. And depending upon what the school does, I've heard a few rumblings about the school resource officer. So we want to find out what their plan is there too. But yes, we have budgeted for and the voters approved money for an
Right.
additional officer. Yes.
If they want to get rid of her to aid their budget, they are going to shoot themselves in the foot.
I
We-
agree.
Were you at that meeting?
No.
This is a round of circular foot shooting.
Oh,
Okay,
yes.
is
The
not
reason
allowed.
I didn't stay for the second part of the meeting was
Yeah.
because I had already voted, so it was a null and void issue on my part to stay for
It was.
more entertainment, so I went home.
There aren't any good options.
Well, I gotta say, the star of the show was our moderator, who cleverly grabbed the one and only mic in the room and would only give the mic to the person he had recognized to talk, which
No,
was,
if you
perfect.
want, you can laugh about the moderator's job, but you get a very
yeah,
ill-tempered group that you're trying to do a meeting with. That job could almost require Ed's skills to do.
we
It
had
can,
Matt's skills and. he
but
was
I mean, you did it,
superb.
From what I hear, it reached that level.
yeah.
No, Dan,
No.
I've seen it much worse. He did
Yeah.
fine. I wasn't even worried about it.
You know,
Oh,
but I'm
that
just
was
saying,
good.
it can get really
Can
testy
get
at
really
those kind of
bad.
meetings, so you did a good job, Matt. You get any votes?
I did
Write-ins?
get some votes.
Right. He didn't write his.
I
own
was the
name
leading
out, though.
candidate for that position.
So what happens if we don't have a moderator?
We have to appoint for a year or until the next election, and then we'll see if anybody runs, and it goes on and on. That's why Matt went through what, 3 elections? No, 2. We appointed him and then we
We
had the
appointed him, then he had to
specials.
run in May, and then he
Right.
had to run, yeah.
Right.
okay.
Okay,
He really wanted to be.
thank you, chief. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Not
All
sure
right,
why.
Bill Sweet,
Well,
good
when we do
evening.
good things and we don't fight, it's fun. The other times I just soon stay home and milk cows.
Okay.
Hi, Bill.
Hi. Doing pretty well. So a couple things without going to the packet. So, last Tuesday, I spent the day with the group doing the energy audits for our 2 buildings, and we did town hall and the highway garage.
Okay,
It took a large portion of the day. They actually came back Wednesday morning because they needed to do the blower door test, and with the door being open and closed.
oh, those are
But
cool.
It was neat. The highway garage is actually, like they said, it's probably one of the best large buildings like that they've come across. There were a couple little gaps here and there when they did the blower test, but other than that, it was good.
Good to know.
Did you know the lighting in there is terrible? That came up. Although the workbench lights, the guy to put sunglasses on when they're gonna work around the workbench lights because they're so bright. So you get kudos for that. But they're gonna do up a whole report for both buildings with some recommendations, and that will allow us to move on to some grant possibilities in there. But yeah, they have a light meter that like measures the light output at certain levels, and they were chuckling trying to do I'm like, yeah, this we know this is not good. But the rest of it went really well. There's some things in this building they identified, there's some short-term things, but we'll get a full report for both buildings. The grant that Barbara was referring to, we still have that $4,000. That's we haven't really identified a specific thing to use it for, but townwide celebration, we could do some things. I do have some different ideas and suggestions from the planning commission, regional planning commission. We could purchase like a small residential style like thermal imaging camera. People can go and look at their houses and see heat loss. We could do things like that. There's some really interesting ideas. Chittenden hosted a whole event just for energy efficiency and paid for the whole thing with that. So we do have that available to us. Ed Clark sent us were there questions on either of those things? Sorry. Ed Clark has sent us the revised final plans for the building for downstairs. We need to kind of meet and go over how he want to do like estimating. He says there's some estimators they use and they've not been available to do it. So whether we want to put it out and see if we can get someone to do that for us, or how we want to proceed next. But we are
Committee meeting.
We're when we know who the building committee is going to be.
That's a fun committee to be on.
It is a good committee to be on.
Just saying. Man.
Building technology is a great committee. So we're very close. Like we're really close. We've got, I mean, if we're good with these plans, then we're basically at the step where we're going to go out and get what it's going to cost to do it. So we're making really good progress. He's just waiting to hear back from us at that point to be able to do that. Have not heard on either the electric vehicle grant or the VLCT grant. They both had a bunch of follow-up questions last week. Got them all answered. They both sounded like we will hear this week.
Okay.
And both sounded promising, so we should be good. There were some questions around the safety grant because they normally require us to show we paid for it and then they reimburse us the cost, but this is a monthly service, so we have to kind of figure out how that's going to work. So but I think that's what's holding it up. But other than that, we're in good shape for that.
Leave it to us to come up with something to.
But nobody's ever asked for it before.
Good.
So we probably stand the best chance of getting it because we're going to be a good trial.
novel.
But
Yeah.
but we did some of the online safety stuff, and that was something they prompted for being able to sign up for services and do that. So I think this is a great opportunity. On your desk is a contract from North Star. After the last meeting, I was putting stuff away and I happened to come across the contract, and our contract with North Star said August 17th, but the DJ and the dates we're talking about were August 24th.
Yeah.
So we got a new contract with the correct date.
And are they okay with this date?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there was no issue.
Well,
We've already paid for it. You can see at the bottom, we're already paid.
Yeah.
But they sent us a new agreement because we had the wrong date, and I'm glad I happened to
Yes,
pull that
thank
out
you.
because that'd have been a problem.
Okay, so let's
Random fireworks, some random weekend.
What the hey? Yeah.
What a-
It's like we wouldn't have noticed, That's pretty much describes summer.
I'll take a motion to approve the corrected contract with
Yeah.
the August 24th date.
So move.
Second.
Motion's made and second, and authorizing me to sign as chair.
Yes.
Is that part of the motion? I thought I heard that.
I
Thank
heard
you.
that.
Discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Good job, Bill.
Yes.
It was fortuitous. I pulled it out and just happened to see it. I
Okay,
don't
it's
know
in
why.
the
Thank you very
green
much.
folder.
That should be all the other random things. In your packet, we have a sewer allocation request to update an allocation based upon historical usage. Last 3 years in a row, they've been every year they've been on it, and I've asked them, do you want to just get 50? And they don't. Which is fine. We'll just keep doing it this way. So we have a request from, it is Wolnick Properties, who is 194 Seward Road. They sent it in and it would be for an increase of 3 gallons per day over their current
Oh,
allocation.
bless their hearts.
Move
They
to
got
approve.
right on
3,
it.
7, 10, like it's been, yeah.
All right, is it in? Where is it?
It should be in your packet. It should be letter
It's,
B.
is it in here?
Letter what?
It's
Letter
B in
B.
the packet.
And then to sign.
Is it?
No, there's nothing to sign.
Oh,
Nothing,
okay.
it's, this
Just
is,
an
there's nothing,
approval.
yeah, it's just a,
I think I
vote.
heard Matt making a motion.
Good.
Okay, so move to approve the sewer allocation increase. Any second?
Second.
Whole bunch of seconds. Discussion. And it's for the, which property?
Wolnick
Wolnick.
Properties at 194 Seward Road.
Okay. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. So I'll take care of that. There are still 3 other ones, but I haven't heard back from them yet, but we'll get them. Let's see. The next thing that I had for you was, we talked about the letter for V-Trans. So where's the paper? It's D.
Oh,
in your
right,
packet.
okay.
I do have a nice, pretty color version. I don't think I gave you a color version. I
Okay,
may
I've
have,
got
I don't know.
the, I'll
Yeah,
circulate,
okay. Okay.
I'll
So
circulate one of
I
them.
took a shot.
So
I did. So I called Brian Sanderson at the V-Trans office in Mendon.
I was wondering if you
And I said,
connected locally.
I said, here's what we want to do. He's like, great, put it in a letter to us.
Okay.
So this is the step to begin a conversation about any changes down there. Because the right of way comes right in and goes right to the west side of Cop John Drive. So
So
Okay.
it's in, Bill showed me that when I came in to sign the
Squarely
other
in,
thing, and it's in with municipal right away.
Yes.
So the plaza really isn't involved, but we would have them involved
Okay,
to do
yeah.
this. So I would move that we send this letter as presented to us.
Second.
motion's made and seconded to sign the letter to V-Trans requesting a collaborative solution to the Green Mountain Plaza traffic situation. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. No opposed, motion carries.
I do want to say, Mary,
Oh, do we have one that doesn't have a D at the top?
yes.
Okay, that's the one we will use.
Here, Sharon, I'll start with you.
So what you got to do, Bill, is send
Oh,
Mary's
wait, no, not that
without
one. Hold
letters.
on.
No, put it in,
Where am
put
I
it here
signing?
without letters.
Sorry, wrong paper. That one. I'll do that.
I practice law by sticky. I also have yellow things coming out. Okay,
All right, excellent. So the next thing in the list is the town officials. It's our annual
okay.
run around the board. And
We
then
just did the planning
we
commission.
did,
so
yes,
that
those
was
are all set.
good.
And
So-
then we have the committee assignments. That's everything.
Okay, the other. All right, so I'm looking at you highlighted in yellow,
Yes.
the ones that where we have to make appointments. So, the communications district, yeah.
Yep. No interest in that,
Would
unfortunately.
you check with, it looks like Lucas Hubbard? Kurt, you got him last time.
Yeah, I
See if
can
he's still willing to
send him
do
a
it.
text.
Paul Williams, is he still willing?
Probably.
And Byron, so if you could just connect with these folks who are here and see if they're still willing to do it, that would be great. Liaison to the school board and then school liaison to the select board. We had that, probably 3 or 4 years ago. and We
Yes.
didn't use it. So
Yep.
that's a question. Do we reinstitute those or not worry about them? So I'll put that out there. I'm not intending, other than the planning commission, to try and do anything tonight with these.
One question.
Sure.
With the passing of Fred,
Yes.
how do we do that? Do we ask for somebody?
Yeah, we've got so we need someone now for tree warden and inspector of wood. Byron?
He's the, he's on the
Byron
regional.
do it? Would you ask?
I already did.
Did you? He's willing to do it?
And
Excellent.
there's somebody else,
Both?
well,
Yeah.
my son Christopher, who has an arborist degree,
Yeah,
he was interested in maybe the tree warden. So I don't know how you want to do, what you want to do with that.
okay, so we've got maybe 2 candidates. That's great.
We also need someone for the regional board of commissioners.
Yeah,
Who's
That too.
Planning Commission.
Yeah.
Regional Planning Commission, okay.
So,
So let's,
so I don't know how we have done it in the past when,
we've never had more than one person interested,
okay.
so. this could
Well,
be
it's just
really
that
exciting.
he's,
Should we appoint two people?
you could, one for each gender.
An alternate?
But I mean, Chris just told me, when we were cutting wood on
Okay.
Saturday and I mentioned on Fred's passing and I said, something you're interested in, because he
Yeah,
does have an arborist
Does the
degree.
tree
so-
warden actually do anything, or is he
Yeah.
already doing it through the highway department now?
Well, he wouldn't step on Fred's toes.
yeah,
But if somebody has a tree they want looked at, that would have been what Fred would have done for us in his absence, if we want somebody to go out and,
Which means trees in a town right of way or.
or, right, I mean, or,
Both of them wouldn't be bad. You get somebody that, has a lot of town history and a newer person
Yes.
to learn from. And
yeah. I think we could do codes.
he
I
did
see
want to
no
know what the
reason why
town, what the
not.
job entailed, but
He didn't-
those are some skills that he
We
had.
don't pay him. Did you tell him that?
He likes doing this tree.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
he really does. He's really likes that arborist.
So they
stuff,
got
so.
one widowmaker on Creek Road, find another one.
I'm
Well,
sure
the
he's,
outline-
I'm sure he's been down and given you some options.
We've got another one that we can actually reach.
We could have an audition if we had more than one.
Isn't there one on Post Road too?
Skills demonstration.
Right.
Yeah, right. We could have a,
That may or may not be. Yeah.
okay, so work on that
Is
for
that,
next
is that
meeting.
an hour right away?
Um,
No.
I guess also in your packet are the
I gotta look at that.
present committee assignments and a blank. So if you want to change your committees, put down what you like to be on. If you're satisfied, let me know.
I'm satisfied with fire and rec. If that's any help.
I'm satisfied, I
And
guess.
scholarship.
Good where I am there.
And scholarship.
Okay,
too.
oh,
You'll
let me
be
just go
quiet.
down through it.
Yeah, you might as well.
Highway, Joe and Kurt, you good?
We
Fire,
started down this
Sharon and
road.
Mary, you good?
Yep.
Recreation, Sharon and Matt?
Yep.
Transfer station, Kurt and Matt?
Yep.
Intermunicipal, Mary and Joe?
Okay.
It's been a tough one.
Yeah, I haven't done much.
Not really. Don't tell them. Building and technology, Kurt and Joe.
Yeah.
You guys
fine.
good? Okay. Police, Mary and Matt.
Yep.
Scholarship, Sharon and Matt.
Yep.
Okay.
And the big.
Finance and personnel. The thought was that they would never both be happening at the same time. And so, so if Matt will do it, I'll do it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Townwide celebration, Sharon and Kurt.
Yep.
All right. Energy, Mary, Joe, Barbara, Sherm Hunter, and Norman Cohen. Yep. Water and sewer, Kurt and Joe.
That's fine.
And I wouldn't mind if you combine that with, and I think we should combine it with highway. And
Just put
kind of
them all
make it
together.
a,
One
Yeah.
committee, yeah.
yeah,
Because it involves all the same people.
exactly,
Kinda, yeah, they lap each other.
exactly. So we can do
Yeah, you can just.
water and sewer.
Make
and
it part of
highway.
that. Yep, no problem.
It's Public Works, we can call it.
There you go. I
Okay.
like that.
Oh, boy.
The fancy new title, Dave.
Now we're getting fancy.
You don't get
He
any more
just-
money?
He
No,
just
no,
got
no.
the truck
Just
letter.
above the
though.
title, don't worry.
He just got the truck letter.
What's on the truck?
Yeah.
What's on the truck?
Highway department.
Ah,
It doesn't say Department of Public Works. Although it's a blue truck, we might not want to
Um,
write Department of
The
Public Works.
public safety building, we're all technically on, but there isn't, I mean, we have a clerk of the works now, so that's basically where we are. So I'll leave it. And the Veterans Committee is Dave Charnock, Jim Hall, Ed Squeerer, Jim Freeze.
I don't
should
like,
be
it got cut off
added,
twice. I don't know.
Jim Ashcroft, Don Chaffee, and Marty Wasserman. And because they're basically the people who were doing something out here.
I'm glad to see that's taken flight.
Yeah, I am too. And any
Okay.
other committees you think we should, where's, oh, energy's there. Any other committees? Okay, so we took care of that. School board liaison, does anyone want to be the school board liaison?
Right, Dave.
Good night, guys.
Thank you, Dave. No?
I mean, I guess I don't mind. I don't know what was the expectation in the past? I assume
What are we doing?
they're not actually going to meetings. It's if they.
Now,
think if
once
we
in a
wanted-
while, if something came
Came
up
up that
that,
we wanted to convey to them, like discussion about maybe things like
Northwood
a school
Park.
resource officer we're
Yeah.
both paying for.
yeah,
I mean,
If we had thoughts, you
Paving.
would be the person to go talk to
Yeah.
them about
I,
it.
I know all the members, so. I'm happy
okay,
to-
good.
It
Thank you.
didn't, I don't know if anybody's gone in a while.
We might extend to them, to the 8th grade class, the offer, if they will assist at townwide celebration, we might be able to toss a donation their way. But that's kind of townwide celebration needs to talk about. Okay, well, thank you.
Really good parent.
We- Huh?
I know somebody who was involved in that fundraising. I can pass it right along.
Excellent. Who's
Community
involved?
service would be good to start some of these young people off with, things that
Yeah,
they don't experience, because you never know when somebody might, geez, I kind of like doing this.
well, I did in 7th and 8th grade. I got into, I went down to the town hall and did stuff, and hey.
And look where it got you.
I know, really.
Um,
Yep.
all right, so question for Sharon.
Yes.
Do we, now that we're a committee again on scholarships, do we need to have a meeting or should we have Bill go ahead and get those things out? Because.
You,
it's
if you
gonna be
want to
done.
use the same application, I can post it tomorrow.
Because
If
of
you want to
the
make any
visit.
changes, then we
Okay,
need to get done
post
soon.
it. And then, and let the school, do you send it
Approved.
directly to guidance?
I got a list. Yeah, don't worry.
I understand that.
I'm surprised I haven't
Committee
been asked
within a
yet.
committee.
Okay. I think Mrs. Carpenter might be retiring after this year, so.
Really? They're gonna let her?
I don't know. We'll see. That's a
All
rumor I
right.
heard.
So is your committee now adjourned? Okay,
Make
Good.
sure
Well,
that
no.
was an emergency committee meeting.
okay. What else?
Just the one topic for the address discrepancies.
Oh,
Just that one minor thing.
That's all that's left.
I thought we voted on that.
E911 discrepancies?
Tabled it.
No.
On the what?
E911 discrepancies?
Yeah, I thought we said that, if I'm correct, I thought we said the people that are there now can keep what they have. If they sell their home, then that home has to come into compliance.
That was a suggestion. We
that
never
was a
voted on.
suggestion. Okay.
Oh, was
That
this
was
a thing
never
we did?
official
Water quality.
documentation.
Oh, yeah, I'll talk about that. Yeah,
Um,
thank you.
We never did.
On my list.
This is the highway letter.
Oh, okay. Over here.
All right, do we have a handout on that?
We didn't really have anything. No, there was no, I mean, other towns like have things similar to ours. There's really no like model or
That change would be good.
thought. It's just,
Thank you.
So if we're going to, I would rather table this and allow the people that were concerned to come in.
Not again.
No.
No, I've had enough of them. Because we're not gonna change their minds, Sharon. And they're gonna tell us the same things they told us last time. I mean, they have a right to the meeting. It'll be on the agenda and we can listen again, but I think we have to make a decision. I understand that we are trying to be very diplomatic as a board. And I found through experience that sometimes when you're in charge, diplomacy goes out the window. And you just have to do things the way you think is best. I know we're trying to appease everybody and the folks that we've already made change their addresses because they weren't right and we're in discrepancy are going to say, well, how come
Mhm.
us and not them?
So which groups did we already make change their addresses?
there have been no large scale changes.
Not
Grover-
like this.
we didn't do
We've
Grover
done
Drive?
individual different ones here, there.
There's
This is
some,
the
yeah.
first.
Gleason was the other one.
The
There was-
Gleason Road, we haven't done yet, right?
Neither group was changed.
Right.
Okay,
And my recommendation to you fellow board members is that we do it in accordance with the state or the 911 standards to keep a level of fairness to everybody in town, that we don't make exceptions just because of the inconvenience. And I'm not gonna put you on the spot, Sharon, but when we did that thing for recreation, you made the statement that if we make exceptions for one, we gotta do it for everybody. And that really hit home with me because as a board, if we start making exceptions, we are going down a slippery slope that they're gonna just keep coming back to us. So it's a very unpopular position to take, but I'm willing to take it.
So I'm ready for a motion.
If somebody wants to make a motion.
So I'd make a motion that we adopt a policy for 911 discrepancies that if the address is not out of there was two
Out of
there was-
sequence.
there's 2 points from the state that had to do with the odds and evens left to right
It's odds and evens and sequencing.
in sequencing.
Yep.
So if an address does not conflict with that we post it in the town, in the land record for the property, and at the time of transfer, the address will change. And then, was there one other part I wanted to put to that?
And
If it does, then that would mean that if it does.
If it does, that has to be changed.
Right, okay.
Okay,
And then if, say, a new address pops up in between, then that will, if it's then out of sequence, then will have to be
You've-
changed.
you've got, okay.
And
so-
that can be a townwide policy, and the town can be surveyed, and any other discrepancies can be put on file, and at the time of land transaction, then they'll be fixed and.
Okay.
I
So
second that.
Motion's made and seconded to adopt a policy that says if you are either out of sequence or on the
Odd or-
wrong side of the street.
odd or even
Odd or
numerical
even
to the
is
street.
out of whack,
Right.
then you do have to change immediately. Otherwise, the discrepancy will be noted in the land records and you will be expected on transfer of the property to correct the E911 address. Did I get that right?
Yep.
Summary? Okay, now,
So I have a couple questions. I guess the first would be, how big then does the discrepancy have to be for something to be put in the land records to say that it has to be changed?
Could be anything, really.
Any number.
Well, and by whose measurement? I mean, because if some of these, again, if they're off by 20 feet,
I mean, if we want
If
to add
it's-
a minimum to it, we can.
I don't think you want to make it too complicated.
well, because what if,
Yeah, I know.
I guess, let me make sure I understand. What you're saying is, if it's neither, if there's not a problem with either of those conditions, it's just a matter of measurement. And it goes in the land records, it changes when the
When it
property
is.
changes hands. So if it's
Right.
off by 20 feet,
It'd be
gonna
four-
get-
about four numbers.
Yeah.
and then
If you want to
that
be,
property, well, one property changes hands, then that would also, when, at that time, trigger other changes if one of those other conditions is violated.
it shouldn't, if they're measured accurately, all the previous and post ones should be measured properly. In other words, there was that one household up on Grover that we were talking about if it was changed during the records, but if one property sold before the other and it was changed right, their number would be higher than the next one in progression. And then the domino effect. What Kurt is saying is that if they're just the sequential numbers are the same and they're right for the right side of the road, then when they change, we just make the numbers. So if it's off by, say it's 196 and it's supposed to be 192, it shouldn't change the sequence because there would be no other lots being allowed. And it should be somewhere to be in there that it's the lot, it goes with that. So like if there happened to be a vacant lot between two, that vacant lot would theoretically have a number that should not be lower or higher. It'd be lower than the one following it and higher than the one preceding it automatically. It should automatically fit.
That's theoretical, but until there's a building on it, it won't have a number, right?
No, but it cannot
It
have,
should be okay.
but it should be okay because that number can, if the sequence is done right.
Yes, exactly.
And
He's
once you get
exactly
the
right.
sequencing right, so
Yes.
some of those properties up there are
the wrong number for the measurement, but they're still lower
In order.
than the next one, which is what they should be, and eventually it'll be adjusted properly. What we want to do is get the sequencing right and the right and left side of the road right.
These,
And
these,
and
the,
that's
the
kind of a
the
compromise. but
sequencing
not bad.
and the left-right violation are the two things that there is no discussion about changing it. They have to get changed.
Yeah, the state, yeah.
So if in that case, if there's A, B, and C and we fix one and it triggers a problem with the other ones, they have to be changed. There's
Right.
no, it's not waiting, they have to
But-
get changed.
But
But
right now, those are all in sequence, but some of them I think were kind of close, but the differences might be
Yeah.
small. So it just makes me wonder, well,
Some
is
of
it
the-
really material if you change one by 20 feet? Maybe that's real extreme. I don't remember what those smallest ones.
some of them
but-
were, some of them were legitimately small. They were, and
But I think that's a pretty fair compromise.
Cause then, I mean, Gleason Road has the actual issues.
they
There's
have,
some
they have.
out of
some- yeah.
sequence
And this
and,
is really close to where we almost were that night, talking about using those two
yeah.
Well,
triggers and then tucking something longer range in the land.
The
use.
biggest thing is if
Mary.
we have a policy.
Yes,
Mary, can I ask a question?
Marcia. Sure, go ahead.
This is definitely going to impact not only parcel IDs, but it's also going to impact span numbers. So how are the listers going to be notified when a parcel ID number gets changed? Because I have to get permission from the state, from NIMRIC, to change not only a parcel ID, but a span number.
no, I think we looked into this before and your numbering system is separate. And what we're dealing with the E911, and I don't think changes on E911 do anything to the lister's span numbers.
Yes, it does. Oh, yes, it does, Mary, because the PID is not only the street number, but it's also the E911 number. And that has to all be changed.
How has it been handled in the past? Because this isn't the first time we've had to change 911 addresses.
True.
Yeah. Do you have any history, Marcia, in your years there of when we've changed? Because we have changed numbers
Yeah,
before.
we have.
Oh,
And I
yeah,
think-
definitely. But, you know, when Howard was there as the E911 coordinator, he
Okay.
would actually do the changes based on what Tyler Hermanson said the number should be. But now there's a divide between the lister and the E911 coordinator. So we would need to know from Bill what the changes are so that we have to go to the state and to NIMRIC and get permission, because I cannot change those numbers. Those numbers have to be changed by NIMRIC and by property valuation and review.
So I think what would happen is that once we have a list of the addresses that do need to change their numbers, those would be provided to the listers, and then you can submit that. But that information, it's been done before, so there is a policy in place. I guess we'll all have to get familiarized with it because, like you said, Howard did it and he's not here, so it doesn't sound like it's insurmountable. We just
Yeah,
don't know
no,
what
we
that
just,
policy.
we just.
No,
gi-
it's
give them
not
copies.
insurmountable, but you know, for tax purposes, people have to have their correct PID, and they also have to have their correct span number in order to file their homesteads. Otherwise,
Right.
things are gonna go wacky.
Yeah, I think that'll be a doable change.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
We're not
All right,
reinventing.
thank you, Marcia, for pointing that
Okay,
out.
all
Appreciate it.
right, thank you.
The big thing with creating a policy and having a policy in place is when these issues come up down the road and people get angry about it. Well, this is the policy. This is how it's been done in the past. You're out.
This is how we're treating
You know, this is
everyone.
how we're treating everybody. And then we don't get
Quite as much.
we don't get as much squabble.
So as
Fair
911
enough.
coordinator, what do you think about this idea?
That's fine. I mean, it's just it's the making sure it gets, attached to the land record correctly. And if it is, then that's fine. I mean, it just, the only problem is, it could be like, if we start doing, if we have a cascade effect, that would be a little more challenging, but it's really not, it's not that bad. I mean, we don't have people that are not being serviced. We don't have people that are, being lost in the shuffle. So there are some where we have corrected and we've got them updated, and that works fine. So
Any other policy, we can change it when we need to.
Yeah.
Go so.
Yeah, I think if we use a little bit of discretion, I mean,
That's got a
we're
question.
moving 6 feet. Maybe we don't need to flag that.
Yeah, that's my thing is how do we decide who gets on the list to begin with? I mean, should
It's
there-
just it's, I think the guidelines are there, sequencing
it's in the ordinance.
and left and right. So if
No,
you're,
but that's,
right,
But there
Not what
are
he's
some
saying.
people out of whack, even though they're in the correct sequence. And they're on the correct odd even side of the street,
They're like
but
3
they're like
points
20
off.
or 50 feet out of compliance. What do we do with?
If they're like
those
3 points
are
off.
the
minimum.
ones, I believe, those are the ones that met the criteria that go into the land record, that if the property is sold, the number has to be changed to the proper number.
Okay, so Matt's question.
so my
is
question
there a
is, should
minimum?
there be a de minimis amount here, like
I think
50 feet or more? I mean, I'm not, it seems to me like if it's less than that, I just cannot imagine why it would be worth
Well,
a
so
hassle.
it would, under normal circumstances, if we just said, hey, Matt, your address is wrong by 50 feet, we could change it by 10 numbers, that wouldn't make sense. The timing is what makes it easier. Because if we change it during the land transaction, then
The new
it's-
owner.
the new
doesn't
owner
have
gets a
to.
new address and,
Right.
and it's.
Yeah,
it's
as
the
long as
least-
it doesn't cause a cascade effect.
Right. It
Right,
It
it's the,
shouldn't.
it's the
It
least.
shouldn't.
If it's that little, yeah, it definitely shouldn't.
It
It's-
shouldn't.
It's definitely the least impactful time
Right.
to make the change.
If you buy a
of any of
house
that.
up on Grover Drive and you gotta change from
Lots are big enough.
354 to 348,
It's not gonna.
and you gotta have new checks printed, it's not gonna impact you at all, because you're gonna have new checks printed, and you're gonna have a new address, and that's when it does, and that's a fair way to do it. And we can still meet those two criteria that Tyler pointed out to us that needed to be,
Okay.
we needed to be observant of it. That's a good,
What?
how long did it take you to think that up?
Oh, okay,
I've
there's
had
another
it for a
question.
couple weeks.
Okay.
Say
I'm
Matt's
glad.
got another question.
Here's one that Mary will appreciate perhaps. So if somebody uses an enhanced life estate deed, property doesn't really change hands until the person dies, which you may or may not find out about in the town. I mean, I guess you would, but how that gets matched up, I don't know.
Yeah, well,
It may be one of those that hangs out there for a while. So transfer of title. So here's a question. I mean, is there transfer of title when people are added to the deed? And that would be the enhanced life estate deed.
I mean, that will be
So could that
that'll be a
be-
significant trap for the unwary.
so could that be
Yes.
part of the policy is either transfer of the title or the property? So that would be, in other words, because I think what you're talking about is if parents want to leave it to their children, so there's actually no sale.
They add them
But-
to the right.
Right, so when that could be, that seems like happens frequently.
Yeah.
We could make that part of the policy. That would be another condition that would trigger
So
this.
where does it
Transfers for
trigger?
transfers for value only.
The transfer for
So if it's a gift
ownership
or
or-
it's inheritance, you wouldn't change it unless there was a.
Until the heirs then turn around and sell it.
As long as because those are the ones that meet all the requirements.
Yeah.
Other than they're not the right number. So they're not as
Yeah,
critical.
They're not as critical. That's
You know.
true. But where's the transfer? And I got, is the transfer when you add the children, or is the transfer when the original grantor dies?
I think that's a lawyer
Well, it
question.
would be, in my view.
That's what she does for a living.
It's when the person dies, I would say, but even then.
I
Could you
think
read
in-
somewhere
you
in
know
there
what?
whenever
Family,
when
there's no sense.
the properties in question are transferred for any reason?
Or
The numbering would
inherited.
have to be right. Would that cover it?
In
That's the
reality,
question. It
Huh?
doesn't
In-
really answer the question.
in reality, what I think happens is kids go on the deed then mom dies, and kids before very long sell the house. They don't move in and stay in the house. So there's going to be, I think in most cases, a follow-up transfer of the house out of the family.
Right.
Am I right on that?
Oftentimes.
Oftentimes,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
at
I
that point,
imagine-
it triggers Kurt's motion.
That triggers.
And it covers it. I don't think there's gonna be a long period of time, but in this, in as long, and those properties are not gonna be in that group of those two particular violations. They're
That's
just
true.
gonna be
They're the
missing them.
lesser.
They're gonna be in the lesser
Excuse
crat,
me.
they're just gonna be the ones that aren't numbered. Right.
So back to Matt's point, do we attempt to address the transfer without consideration or the adding a family member issue, or do we not worry about it?
If we worry about it for now, and if it becomes an issue, we could worry about.
I don't see that being as
So-
big an issue.
If any of my clients are transferring these
Town
properties, I'm not gonna be telling them they have to change their address just because they gave it to their kid or something.
No, it would be at the time that they actually become the sole owners. I
And
would
then
think-
they turn around and sell the property.
Right, then the transfer would take place. Yeah, then the change would take place, transfer is gone, so, and
So
if they
we've got-
decide to move in, then they're kind of like grandfathered with that number and the property didn't really.
If their name is on the original deed.
Right, you know,
Yeah.
Kurt's motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Do you have
I
in mind
seconded it.
Kurt's motion? Okay. All in favor of
Aye.
Kurt's motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, unanimous, so
I think it's a good resolution.
I do too.
Thank you, Kurt.
And it kind of keeps us not showing a discrepancy and sticking with the plan.
So Bill,
It's not
here's
gonna
my
set well, but-
suggestion for the,
gotta
you
change, you
put a
gotta change.
loose leaf notebook in the town clerk's office with a notice to any title searchers that they need to check this loose leaf notebook to make sure the
Sure,
property transfer is in compliance.
sure.
Otherwise, they're gonna have to make an E911 change.
Something, yeah.
That's what, towns sometimes do with other ordinances that they want
So
flagged.
this is a policy. This means this took effect.
Well, I mean,
Whenever we
Yeah.
type it up.
whenever we
Sign it.
type it up,
Sign
and
it.
make sure all make sure like all the
So they
words,
got Bobby 2 weeks.
probably.
Why, what are you gonna do?
No, I want to see what the fallout's gonna be in 2
Um,
weeks.
No, that should be fine. So the ordinance we have does that need to be changed to reference this policy in some
Yes.
way?
Yes.
So,
It might have to be a thing.
Yeah,
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's a little,
Somewhere in the ordinance, it's gotta say,
Reference
in the
it.
event of,
yeah.
numbering discrepancy, please see policy.
We almost need to have like a new address and existing address kind of designations and,
Yeah.
yeah, all right.
it's doable.
All right. Yeah.
Good solution. Thank you, Kurt.
Last thing I had, thank you, Matt, for reminding me, on your desk also is a follow-up letter from the state regarding the water quality sampling at the closed landfill.
Okay,
They are not concerned with the results,
okay,
in
good.
short. And they suggested, and actually, I was stuck with Stantec, and we may change our sampling from the time of year we do it, because Stantec is currently making 2 trips to the landfill, and they could make one
I thought it was one. I thought we went through all of that.
sampling trip, but they still make an inspection trip.
Oh,
So we could
okay.
line
Because
them
they
up.
added the
There's just,
inspection.
it's like, it's a notice with the state and it's just some paperwork to do, but Stantec says that would be fine.
Okay.
So we may, in the next month or two, have that to send along to the state as a request to just, all it is moving our sampling date from one part of the year to the other, and that's
Okay,
it.
and
So,
they show up anyway twice.
and they show up anyway, but it would actually cost us less because they're only coming once versus twice.
Okay,
I think that's it.
all right, let's see.
No,
What else? We
Just-
did the.
I'm a little
resolutions there.
pissed off that
Um,
whoever sat at my desk to scratch off things.
Oh, maybe in the votes. Okay.
Oh,
Ballots.
we had some ballot clerks who were,
Yes, cleanliness is next to godliness. If you can't be God, be clean. That's what the old nuns would say.
okay.
I like that.
We'll see what we can do,
remember
Sharon.
those
I
days.
think I
Oh my
forgot that
God.
little sermon.
We'll see what we can do about that,
We'll get in
Sharon.
a hurry to leave.
Okay, so I'm
Tell them
just
to keep
quickly
the mitts
going
off
through
my
my,
desk if they're not gonna keep it clean.
We have
Um,
Barry, I need 5 minutes to go to the potty.
Okay, so here's what I suggest. If you're I would entertain a motion to go into executive session. There is well, let's just go through action needed. We did the state certification for the roads. We did the sewer allocation. We did the mutual aid. We did the V-Trans letter. We did we'll work on the appointments. The E911, we just did executive session. That's what we're down to. So executive session for, I have a personnel matter, I have a contract matter, and advice of counsel matter, and pending litigation matter, and I'd like to go into executive session for all three of those reasons.
Yeah, there might be a
Motion's made.
second, personnel.
I think
matter.
there might be. Okay, motion's made and seconded to go into executive session for those three reasons. And before we do, I have a quick question. JP's sidewalk, have we cleared who is going to be the clerk of the supervisory?
Project manager.
We've gotten, I talked to the state, they're fine with us moving to the planning commission.
Okay,
Stephanie is back in town the end of this week or beginning next week, and she will get us a proposal for that. service.
okay,
So it
good.
is
I just wanted to make sure we
progress.
didn't lose that. So back to the motion to go into executive session. All in favor, please say aye.
Nay, I want a 5-minute break.
And that's where you're gonna get your 5-minute break. So let's take a 5-minute break and then we'll be in executive.
Back on.
Okay, let's start with this one while it's in our mind. Is there a motion? We're out of executive session at 19 minutes of 9. Is there a motion? Not to adjourn, but concerning,
I'd move that we forward the letter of use of funds as presented to us.
forward it to the
Forwarded, yeah,
listers?
yeah.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to sign and send the letter to the listers. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed?
I'm recusing myself
Okay,
for protection.
all right. So there's a letter and I'll stick it in the folder.
The other thing
Yes.
is part of the grant application, which if you need a different grant application, this is for the updating our local emergency plan.
Okay,
There is the option, if we incurred expenses prior to the award date, we could claim them. We didn't incur any expenses, so it wasn't part of it, but they said we have to have it anyway.
okay.
So it's acknowledging if we had expenses, we could claim them, but we don't have any, but we got to sign it anyway.
This is advance notice to proceed. It's to the Vermont Department of Public Safety. It's Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities 2022. That's the project title. And I will entertain a motion. Looks like there's one signature line to authorize me to sign on behalf of the town.
So move.
Second.
It's made and seconded. Discussion. As in, what did he just say? Okay. If not, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay. Do we have any other motion?
Motion to adjourn.
There you go.
Second.
Motion's
You guys
been
are all thinking of
made and
something.
seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Please say aye. Aye.
Oh, no.